Hi, I'm Kelly Rowlett-Presgrave. I'm president and CEO of Work With Your Hands, and we are so proud to be a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast. You can reach us at workwithyourhands.com. Kelly at workwithyourhands.com is my email.
At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines, regardless of gender, and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, Lori.
Hi, ladies.
We are so excited to have you on the show today. I was talking to Heather earlier because I have had the honor to talk to you and interview you before. One of the first guests on Power Women of the Trades podcast back in February of 2023 at AHR. I was telling Heather earlier, I can't wait. We're here today to talk about the Women in HVAC conference. Is it a conference? Is that what we call it?
Conference.
Okay. In October, but we have to talk about who Lori Tschohl is first because you have such dynamite story. I just think it's like the coolest thing. I think I said earlier, you've lived like several lifetimes. So we have to take a minute to tell the world, which you've told plenty of times, I'm sure, but to tell the Power Women of the Trades audience who Lori Tschohl is. So let's hear it.
Yes.
All right. So, and especially Heather, because I'm excited to learn more about you and Cassie. It's always been a privilege to spend time with you. So what is my story? I had to come up with one. When I started in this industry, I don't have an HVAC background. I actually started out as a McDonald's franchisee and sold, retired, and said, what should I do with my life? I was traveling the world, and like I tell everybody, I couldn't afford myself. Now, granted, I just sold like a bunch of McDonald's restaurants, but I knew I had quite a few years ahead of me of all the things that I wanted to do, and it was just too young for me. I was 52 at the time and said, let's go. Jumped into some other businesses, which I always say probably not my best business move. There were Pandora jewelry stores, beautiful pieces of jewelry. I like jewelry, all kinds of fun stuff, but as a business model did not work. And I came from that franchise background. And so then I ended up opening up my company that I currently have, which is Eagle Pipe Heating and Air. And we do residential, light commercial, HVAC. We also do a ton of gas piping. We started out as a gas piping company. And once I understood what this industry was all about, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get into residential replacements because that's where the money's at. Mm-hmm. And I tend to be a little bit driven by that with my background. And then I added plumbing about a year ago. So I'm probably growing a little bit slower than a lot of folks that jump in because I don't have that generational background. I would have loved for somebody to say, hey, grow up in the business and now take it over. But I've been building mine.
Mm-hmm. So how did you make that transition from being, like a franchisee owner at, McDonald's and the Pandora to go into the trades? And now you hold such a powerful role in the trades, which is so inspirational, especially for women in this industry. What was the bridge that got you from, owning the stores to
how'd you choose
to a trade-based business?
I always say business is business. So
Mhm.
burgers to bangles to pipes, a lifelong plan in business. That's it. So burgers, I learned, there's so many books about McDonald's out there. I learned business and I learned it the hard way. I paid the price in regards to, tax attorney, business attorney, those type of things, as I was learning not only how to be a business person, but actually how to go out into the communities. During this entire time, tons of mentorship with women along the way that were interested. So then I trade into retail, and it was kind of interesting because I never had anybody come in and say, okay, here's the operations manual. I'm like, I can run a McDonald's. I certainly can run a Pandora jewelry store. And I had a lot to learn because the whole financial model is very, very different. And so then when I started my company, I ended up getting into the trades. I had been super involved with McDonald's at a level of helping them, when I say design and give input on all those brand new restaurants. That was back in 2010. So as a franchisee, I was extremely involved in our co-ops and within the company, even though I owned my own company. So I have always had this ability to work with contractors, suppliers. I've built McDonald's restaurants. I've built out my Pandora jewelry stores within, shopping malls because they were full-blown stores. So my brother, who had been in the trades for all these years, I kept saying, gosh, you're working so hard, but you have more of, it's all about the technician mentality of go out there, get the work done, take care of the customer, and you get a paycheck. And I said, man, I want to give you more. I want to do something more. So that's when I started the company, and I started it, and he was my first employee.
Oh, wow.
I
didn't know
love
that
how
piece.
spunky you are too about
Yeah.
you just dive in. I just love hearing your
I feel like you are a master entrepreneur, or I was trying to explain this to someone earlier today, that sometimes entrepreneurs, it's like, well, how did you go from burgers to bangles to gas pipe? Because business is business, and you're not wrong. I was similar. Quality has been my biggest focus. I previously owned a day spa, previously owned batting cages. I was always dabbling and trying, because business is business, but it's finding that right thing. And then I think a little bit of I don't know, it's almost like an addiction, it's a chase. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but it's there's a chase that you're out for. And so I can imagine when you stopped Pandora, you were like, oh, well, what's next? And I always say that about when people are talking to us about purchasing our business, I'm like, what would I do? Because I would have to do something else.
Correct. You have to do, because, we're very much engaged. I don't know with you ladies, but I don't just sit and watch TV. I might be if I'm catching a program, I'm cooking or I'm doing something. It's not in me. Do I get up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday? Yeah, because that's what I do, Monday through Sunday. And so we have so many things that are going on. And then we're all trying to make a difference in what we do. So whether it's your businesses, your communities, your families, and I think that's what kind of really drives everyone, because you're so busy, because we take care of everybody.
Yeah.
I know, Cassie, I see you on Facebook, and you're taking care of everybody, and that's how it works.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of I was talking to my husband earlier, and I was there's a little bit of trauma response in that. And I was I can't even get into it. I don't know. That's a whole other episode probably. But for me, it's I'm taking care of things, I'm doing things, but I'm doing it differently for now because that's what I didn't know then. And I think we all, no matter if we have a story of trauma as a child, we all have something that we're trying to or better for someone.
I think there's so much value and purpose in bringing value to the people that we're serving. And that's one of the things that I love about the trades, is that we're serving people in our community, and we are, what we have to offer and what we have to give back to the people in our community and to our employees too.
And then to know you did that too, for your brother, I think that that's something, I didn't know that in your story, but that you wanted to create something for him too. I think that's probably something that there's not a lot of recognition for. Not that you did that for that, but it's that's a really selfless thing to do, to be able, you've been successful in McDonald's. And for all accounts, you could have just retired and set sail, and there's a lot of, some days I'm could we though? And I'm sure you do, you have those days too. But to know that you still went again and started something again to do that for your brother, that's really cool. And I think that's something that should be honored and
recognized and appreciated.
Thank you.
I think very driven driven women. A lot of the women that we interview on the podcast, people that I've seen on the podcast, were driven. We'd be bored if we didn't have something that was driving us forward. We would be bored. I know myself, I can't sit down, very much like what you said, Lori. I have to stay busy. I took some time off after I left Guy, and it was a lot shorter than what I think my family was expecting because I got really bored really fast.
Yeah, I get sick and I stay home for, 2 days. By day 2, I'm like, okay, I'm coming to work tomorrow and just lock me in my office because I need to be around people and doing things because that keeps me going. That's awesome.
Exactly.
But okay, so beyond being wildly successful as an entrepreneur, you also put yourself into all the chaos always. And I mean that like you jump into these organizations because people say this to me all the time is how do you do this? And I'm like, I don't honestly know. And I think Lori, you and I are probably the same in this is like, how do I do it? You're involved in all of these organizations, which are incredible organizations individually. You're the president of Women of HVACR and you run your business. And people ask that question all the time. How can you do it all?
So great people, as always. So my business has great people. We rely on them to do what they need. Of course, there's always the touch points and, give them the vision, let them be successful. I don't micromanage anybody. I take a look at our board of directors with Women in HVACR. Talk about powerful women. There's 13 of us. So you can imagine, the 3 of us have a great time. You can imagine when 13 get together. And then we just started this year with an executive director. So super excited. I looked at the organization and gosh, all the presidents that came before me, the incredible work they have done. It's been a series of 20 plus years, starting with Ruth King and the organization to all of the past presidents. And everyone was there for a reason. And you can see the mark that they left on this incredible organization. So when I looked at it, I thought from a business perspective, how can we grow it? We need to have longevity. How can we enhance the people that are on our board so we can train and develop them? Just like you would walk into a company and say, okay, what can I do to grow this, strengthen this, and make it better? And that was kind of the approach I took this year. I knew we needed an executive director to move things for the long haul, not just for 1 year, just for the long haul. And so we ended up doing a whole bunch of different things, different softwares. We're redoing bylaws. Now that we have this executive director, clarity of roles and responsibilities, and really trying to run it, I would say a different level so that we can grow it, sustain it. And what is our mission? Empower, train, develop, network. And we have to start with our own board. So we've been doing a lot of that late. By the time we roll into conference, it's going to be a whole great big old party of everybody just enjoying each other.
I love that. I'm excited for that. I know that I think about kind of reflecting on what I've seen with women in HVAC for the past couple of years. I always forget the R. I'm so sorry. Women in HVACR. But I think that that's a great direction because the trades have evolved so much in the last 4 years, having that executive director that really keeps things focused. I have a little bit of a history in the nonprofit world. And I remember how detailed and how focused and how you've got to have everything. But at the end of the day, everyone that serves on the board, you guys all do have full-time jobs. You do have full-time careers that you're doing. And so I can't imagine how helpful that's been.
Go ahead, Heather.
Sorry, like you had said, if you put the right people in place, then it allows you the freedom to balance between all the things that you want to be involved in. And I've seen that a lot in my own career over the years. People ask me the same thing. How do I balance so many different things? And at my team at Sky, we had really amazing line managers and executive directors that were running the company so that we could travel and kind of broaden perspectives in the trades around the country.
And you have to pick the nonprofits that make sense. So Women in HVACR, of course, that is my main focus this year as president. Founding member with Women in Plumbing and Piping. I so enjoy that organization and the timing was perfect. It's like, voila, I'm starting a plumbing division.
Yeah.
And I love the folks that we're able to meet with on the regular basis. And I'm learning, I'm growing. Angie Snow is there with me and we're able to take a lot of our learnings from Women in HVACR and say, hey, whether it's scholarship, mentorship, kind of help out. And then I also, president of our Builders Association, that's the community involvement. That's the local piece. And I also do Habitat for Humanity. On the Habitat for Humanity, I just serve on the board, and that is enough. But when you serve on these different organizations, there is so much learning. Like when Habitat does training and development, I could say, oh, wait a minute, I can use that with my board for women in HVACR. So it's great exposure to learn, to network. And for my own business, there's a lot of community when I do the local non-for-profits.
Okay, so this brings me, you kind of mentioned earlier, or you kind of answered this for me, and I had wrote down why, because I get asked this specifically a lot. And I can imagine through your years of the different industries, you've probably been asked the same thing too, whenever it's like, I think if you don't have a servant's heart, because not everyone naturally comes to that, I get it, but I know I have a servant's heart. So I find myself volunteering for these types of things, right? For organizations like this. And then I will get asked, but why? Because that's taking away from your business. And I want to say, no, it's not. It's literally helping me grow as a human being, but helping me grow our business. One of the things when I had talked about starting this podcast, it's like, well, you'll never make any money from that. Right. That's not the intention. You won't do this, you won't do that. Right. But it's helping a larger thing, right? I feel like that's my place. One of my reasons of being on this earth is to give back to people, whether that be women in the trades, my local community, whatever. And so do you get those questions of, but why do you do that? You're not getting paid for that.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
Yeah. In fact, I always say if I did get paid, boy, I wouldn't know what to do with all my money. I tend to spend more time on nonprofit volunteering than I do on anything else. I enjoy doing it. And I think when you say servant's heart, it started for me, oh my gosh, when I was in my early 20s. I had started with McDonald's. I was working for McDonald's Corporation. It was Special Olympics. It was representing McDonald's at that. It goes all the way back. In my case, that's 40 plus years to go back to volunteering. And then from then it just moved forward with mentoring women in management within McDonald's Corporation. Then it went into mentoring franchisees with their wives who we would do, hey, let's sit down and let's go through your profit and loss statements. And they'd go back to their husbands who were the main franchisee. And next thing we know, the husbands are showing up at our meetings because we had such great information to help them out. So all the way along, in fact, Pandora was probably the only one that I still did some community service within the two areas. I was out in Boise, Idaho, and Salt Lake. So if we did like the Susan G. Coleman, we would donate. Always, it's not just about the money. It's also about the time. Buffalo, of course, Ronald McDonald House served on the board of directors, served on the executive board, created a room within one of their houses just in honor of my father, so that when terminally ill children would stay there, they would have this great room. Being a McDonald's franchisee, I had all my McDonald's paraphernalia in this room. So if you're a little kid and you're not feeling good and you get to go into a room with all kinds of really cool McDonald's stuff, it just kind of helps you through some of those times. So people ask me all the time, why do you do it? And I said, it's because I enjoy doing it. Yeah. I love helping people. And then I also, I'm sure you ladies all know what your DISC profile is. If you look at my DISC profile, I probably will walk in. I went to a B&I meeting with my operations manager. I walk in, I go, oh, this meeting isn't for me. She goes, why not? I go, well, I'd have to run it because I walked in the door and I said, yeah, it's not my kind of meeting. If I joined it, I'd have to run it. So there's a little bit of that also.
Okay, so wait a second, because we just had, it's funny because we do use the disc profile at Quality, and we just had an entire meeting or short conversation about this earlier today, because some of our call team has done the assessment and some hadn't. And so I was explaining to the ones who hadn't, and so we're sending it to them. So what are you on the disc profile?
Well, of course I'm D, but you know, the most interesting, so I'm a DI, but
I'm a DI.
So see, and the interesting part is, so how high is your D? You know, I go 99 and 91. And I had one woman say, I've never seen a female that high on this profile. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I'm a DI with about the highest you can get on the D side.
I'm going to have to look at my numbers on those, but I'm also a DI. And I think that this is very interesting because, and this is what I was telling my call center team today, is at one point in our company, we had two CSRs that weren't meshing well together. They weren't communicating well. And one particularly just didn't like this other person. And I stopped and I said, hey, at any other company, have you ever taken the disc profile? And they both said yes. And I said, do you have your assessment? And they said yes. And I looked at the one who was always frustrated. The other one, really, she was just like owning it. She's like, I know what I'm doing and whatever. And I said, can we see it? And they said, yeah. And I said, because I'm willing to bet that what you don't like about her is actually because you guys have the exact same disc profile. And what you don't like about her is a trait that you have and you're not recognizing it. And sure enough, they were the exact same. But
oh, wow.
It was so funny. And then but when you know someone's disc profile, you can actually at least try to understand, you know, like I know if I meet up with someone and I'm like, what in the world? Maybe they were the same, or maybe I know that I can come off aggressive or abrasive because I've just got a strong personality. And sometimes if I know maybe someone else's, Kaylee, what are you? I forget. Kaylee's an IS. And I know at first, when she first started with Quality, I know that I think I scared the daylights out of her, right? So I didn't turn myself backwards. I recognized how I might have been intimidating towards her or whatever. And so I think it's so cool if you haven't done that. And I love that you're a DI.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I also think that when you understand how someone else thinks or how someone else operates, or, you know, where they're coming from, it allows you to be a better leader because you can approach that person and you know that they need to be approached or talked to. And also the reverse, if your employees or your staff or, you know, whoever you're coaching, you know, understands how you operate, then it makes it, I think, more clear for everybody to understand how to deal with each other. And like Cassie, you had the two CSRs that had the exact same personality. My son and I have the exact same personality, and we also butt heads. And so I said a lot with my son. We've always done color code that Nexstar puts on. Understanding that where somebody falls in the color code chart was awesome as a management team to be able to recognize the things about each other and how to approach different ideas and how to have conversations, whether they are structured conversations or hard conversations or dealing with employees or, you know, making changes in a business. If you understand how each person operates, then you can accomplish the goal more effectively and faster, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Lori, I love that. You're like, I'm going to have to run this meeting. That happens so often with me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but we're not going to get anything accomplished if someone doesn't take charge.
That's our personalities. We have to. It's like, that's who we are. But what I will tell you is with women in HVACR, I am so lucky. My vice president is opposite of me. So when I have probably sent out some type of directive and maybe somebody doesn't like what I've said and they've gone to the VP, this is what I love about her. She says, well, this is what Lori really meant to say. Yeah. So she's got that real soft approach. I come in hard and fast. And she's like, well, this is what, and I said, that's perfect because that's what helps make it all work for us.
Yeah. It creates an amazing balance to where you can get things done faster. And I love that too.
So at Nexstar, they always say when they're teaching something, then they'll say said differently, right? So it'll, you know, they've said this and then in a class and they'll say said differently. And so I always think about someone better be saying me differently sometimes because I know I don't mean to. And then, or I'll send a message or an email and I'm like, that was maybe rude. Kaylee is my said differently. She'll tone me down in email or with certain things. Or I'm the one that's like, no, you better not speak to my girl like that, but I'm the first, I feel like I'm the mama bear, but also, I'm just very quick, precise. Like I need to check that off and move on. I've got enough going on in my life. I'm sure you, Lori, do too. So it's like, I said what needed to say. I don't use fluff words.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm known for, direct. And then the other thing is the details. So you better have some C's around you, because if you don't, like I'm running so fast, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, did I miss that? And so I need somebody coming back and giving me the details. Like, did you really want to do that? Did you know that? Because I'm running too quick to catch all that, because that's a waste of my time.
Yes, I always say I'm the visionary. I am not the implementer. So I'm the visionary. I gave you the idea. I need you to implement it. If it's not going to work the way I envision, you need to circle back. But otherwise, I'm expecting you to just take it and run with it. If you want me to do like just sit down and find details, I'm like,
not happening.
Yeah, Kaylee will come to me sometimes and be like, there's a list of these things I need you to make a decision on. And I'm like, you're qualified. You're good. I don't feel like this needs to be me right now. She's like, okay.
I am an implementer. So with Sky, Travis was always the visionary, and Anthony and I were always the ones who would just like kind of follow behind him and kind of juggle and catch things. And Cassie, I think that's why you and I get along so well, because I know you and I can see what your vision is and I can make that happen. I'm that person. I'm the person that will just make it happen.
Catch it and do it. Yes.
I catch it and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to make it happen, and you're not going to have to worry about it again.
That's the type, like Lori said, that's the people we need. Like, because me and Lori are the type that are just like squirrel.
Squirrel is right. Yeah. And the older you get, the worse it becomes, let me tell you.
And I get that, and I can work with that. And I think Kaylee gets it too. Kaylee is amazing. I am so excited to work with her because she keeps everybody in line.
Kaylee, Lori is behind the scenes. She's our director of marketing for quality, but she's been with the podcast since the beginning. And so she just runs behind me. She's taking the content. She's taking the picture. She's sitting right behind this camera right now, taking the notes if we need an edit or whatever. But there's no way. Like I try to keep notes while even just podcasting, and I'll put this down because it's the ADHD that says I should have taken the note, but then I'll never do anything with that note again. Actually, expect her to remember.
Her to do it. So what I will tell you, one of the things that has saved me is I hired a virtual assistant and she kills it for me. And I did this in January. I took one look and I said, I am not going to be able to be a part of all of this, run my company, do everything that I need to do and keep my head on straight, especially with the hundreds of emails daily and where I'm at. And if I live by my calendar, if it's not canceled on my calendar or changed, I'm going to show up. But what I did was I used a company, it's called Magic. And I was able to interview my young lady. Her name is Ann May. She is phenomenal. And not only does she keep me on track in terms of, prioritizing all my emails, making sure my calendar, I start out my day with her emails, agendas, calendars, everything I have going on. She closes out her day with everything she accomplished, but she does a ton of work for me in my business. It's all that back end stuff that I can't sit at a computer and just do any of that stuff because again, that's not our personalities. Yeah. She loves it. 8 hours, uninterrupted time. For her, it's the middle of the night because she works at night. Well, it's during the day for us. And whatever I give her, it's unbelievable. She will do presentations. She'll say, oh, I'll have it done in an hour. I'd be like 4 days later. I don't think I'd have Canva right. But in an hour, she has it nailed. So that's one of the tricks that I did this year. Not super expensive, but worth every penny.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to look into that. I always say I need to do that. And then I told Kaylee she's going to get mad at me because she kind of keeps me in line now. But I'm like, Kaylee, I need you in too many different things that you really couldn't do just that for me. But she tries so hard. But I have her running some days that I'm like, I need to really actually, she came in the other day and said, Cassie, I need to sit down and just go through your email for you because I've been missing emails because I have like thousands.
A gazillion. Yeah.
I had 18,000 that she categorized for me. 18, that was one account.
My work email almost became a junk email because of, so many different conferences, and respectfully, like I gave my business card or did this or whatever, and that's fine. But, it would get lost in the sauce. And so Kaylee, she's like, I'm going to have to go through this for you. I know. So, all right, let's go back to the Women in HVACR conference in October. It's October 21st.
Through
In
the
Dallas.
23rd.
In Dallas.
And we did a complete hotel buyout. So that's what's exciting. We have the entire hotel to ourselves.
Oh.
And so this is the first time we've been able to do it, but we also have the numbers. So we selected this hotel. It's called the Renaissance. It's in Dallas, Texas, October 21st through the 23rd. This is our 21st annual conference. So you think for 21 years, we've been running these conferences, and it's not that we have paid staff. This is all volunteers. So we have an entire conference team that puts this on. Tanya Steidel she actually works with Daikin. She is our conference chair. She has put together an amazing opportunity for everyone. Crystal Williams from Lemon Seed, that girl.
Yeah.
She's got the marketing going, all kinds of stuff. Jane Sidebottom, she's doing production, the speakers. And what we went into this even last year, and we said, if you're going to invest the money in sending one of your employees to go to our conference, we want to make sure it's worthwhile for them. So what is the track? They should be able to walk back into your office and say, you know what, this is what I've learned, and this is what made it worthwhile. So it's not just, hey, let's all get together and have a party. We will be doing plenty of that, but the whole speakers, breakout, educational. So when we kick this off on Monday night, it's called the Blue and White Party. It's going to be all kinds of fun. It's the rooftop of this hotel. We'll have a live band, and we will have a hat bar so you can make your own hat. Just kind of fun things. Blue and white is for the blue bonnet, the flower of Texas, which I guess they're illegal to pick. So don't be picking them on the side of the road. But, so it's called the Blue and White Party. The next day, incredible breakouts and speakers. So, I took a look. So two of the speakers, Amanda Brickman, she is actually a creator, host of Emmy nominated, can't talk today, edit that one out, small business. But the funny part is she's for small businesses. She's an advocate, but then she says, respectable water skier. I'm like, I want to know what that's all about.
Yeah.
What is it? Respectable water skier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's fun. So we have Amanda. Then we also have Maureen Zappala. She is a rocket science. That's what she does. She's a rocket scientist, and she is going to come in and talk about imposter syndrome. So it's going to be, we had dynamic speakers last year. We're going to have great speakers this year. Then when we wrap up everything on Wednesday, we have entertainment that night at the Electric Shuffle, which is a really cool couple story place where we can go in and play all kinds of games, have great food. And that's when we're going to really have a good time after going through 2 pretty intense days.
Is that the gala?
So that will be on Tuesday night, and it's the Western or Southern soiree. And we are all going to be in, get your hats and your bling and get Western out because we're in Texas. But the importance of this gala is just not to go have a nice dinner. The thing is, we do our scholarship winners. So Women in HVACR, we provide 6 $5,000 scholarships. And I know we're going to have 5 out of the 6 young ladies there to accept their $5,000 check and all kinds of really cool tools and different things from the suppliers. We're also going to talk about our endowment. We kind of have a surprise this year up and coming. We had a very large donation come in, and we are going to talk about that, highlight that. And I think it's just a really good evening. And we also have highlighting the women in HVACR. So every year, ACHR News highlights the top women industry. So we bring them up on stage and we highlight and celebrate them also. So that will be part of the evening also. And then, of course, music and crazy dancing and everything that goes with it.
I love it.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Sounds like a blast.
You ladies will be there. And something we did a little bit differently this year, because we love all of our podcasters, we put out some marketing materials and we said, hey, who wants to be on a podcast? I think within an hour, we had like 50 people sign up.
Awesome.
So it's going to
get busy.
Yes. So busy, great opportunities. And then you ladies will select who you would like to talk and have on your show.
I love that. That's exciting.
I'm excited about that.
I got so busy. I was running. I think at one point I was like running from trying to go to this session, but then podcasting because the speakers were so amazing, but I was podcasting. And so super excited to do that again. A Southern soiree is right up my alley. So I've got the boots and the dress and the hat, and I'm excited to come and do that. And if you have not been to a Women in HVACR conference, you should definitely check that out. It is in Dallas this year. You still have time to purchase a ticket. I'm betting hopefully there may be some room still in the block.
There are some.
At the whole hotel. But please consider making that investment to yourself. It is just amazing. And so you'll have a great time and it's always a good one. So thank you, Lori, so much for hanging out with us today and telling us all about it. Thank you for everything that you do for our space, everything that you do for women in the trades and your servant's heart.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lori. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Look for us at some of the other shows. We've got Pantheon up and coming. We'll be at Next Star, Certain Path, Service World, and then of course our conference. So we have all those amazing opportunities that lead us right up to conference.
Awesome. I love that. Hopefully we'll see you or someone next week.
You'll see us soon. Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review at Apple. And make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.